Hello, I'm Edith Espinola. I'm the productivity coach with Keller Williams Bay Area Estates in Los Gatos. And today we are on the mindset of the millionaire leader. So thank you so much for being here. And I want to share with you Bob Proctor's training on what it takes to cross the terror barrier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and use some slides that I created. So this is where we start off with a little bit of education about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is our thinking mind. And you've heard what you think you become. So your thinking mind is very, very powerful.
I'm
This is
so
also,
sorry, Edith. The screen is not showing anything.
oh, okay. Let me see what I could do. Thank you,
I
Susie.
had it and now it's gone. And there we go. Thank you.
Okay, so it doesn't show when I do it. Uh, okay. So it won't look as pretty, but you guys get the picture, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So the conscious mind is your thinking mind, it's your educated mind, everything that you've learned, it's your intellect, and the conscious mind is it's very powerful. Now, we also have our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is our emotional mind, and that's where our feelings come from. So now with the conscious mind, the conscious mind allows you the ability to choose. When there's a decision to be made, you have the ability to choose. Also, you can accept or reject, right? Like you can choose to accept something, a thought, like, today I am going to make phone calls. You can accept that thought in that process, or you can choose to reject it. That's your conscious mind. Also, your conscious mind is where you originate the thoughts, and thoughts become things, and what you think about you become. Now, the power of the subconscious mind is that that's where your emotions lie. And in your emotions, you can either choose whatever we tell our subconscious mind, and whatever we feel, the subconscious mind must accept this as truth, right? It cannot reject it. If what we're thinking about is not true, just the fact that we're thinking about it, our subconscious mind is taking that as truth, and it accepts it. So the thing about the subconscious mind is that it cannot determine the difference between that which is real and that which is in the imagination. And this is where the power lies. This is where you can create a life that you truly want to live. So the thing to remember about your conscious mind and your subconscious mind is that what you think, you become, and the thoughts become things. So you want it to be very specific on what it is that you think about. Now, on the top here, these are the sensors where we receive information. We receive, this is how we receive our paradigm, our culture, who we are. You can look at it as the five senses: taste, smell, hearing, touch, and sight. Or you could also expand it a little bit into, who you are as you grew up from a child, right? It's like how your parents raised you, and the thought process and the culture and the paradigms that they grew up with and that they've passed down to you. It's what you listen to on the radio station, on the television, the words in the songs. It's, the people that you hang around with. It's the education that you take. It's just the way that you receive the information that gives you your paradigm or your culture for the subconscious mind. Now, all of this goes down into your body, and this is your reality. So whatever you think about, you become. So do we have any questions on that at all? Okay.
Yeah, I like that. It's beautiful.
Oh, wonderful.
Uh,
Thank you.
if I can say that. But also, I heard it's not how much money you made, but what you become. So that is also a great thing.
Yes,
Even if
absolutely.
I lose everything, I become somebody inside myself. So I have that subconscious that I am worth it.
Right, absolutely. And like you said, even if you lose everything, you're still you, right? And as a matter of fact, because you came up across the challenge of losing everything, you made shifts on who you are, right? Because the challenge creates the opportunity for change.
Right.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you, Carlos. So, okay, so we've got our conscious mind and our subconscious mind that brings it down to our body, which then expresses our reality. So, for example, we decided we wanted to become a realtor, right? So, with our thinking mind, we did the education, we took the, excuse me, I don't know where to mute from this page. We took the classes or we took the courses, and then we took the exam. We passed our exam. We chose to accept the fact that we are realtors. Now, in our subconscious mind, we have to like get more emotional about it. Like, are we happy that we're realtors? Are we scared that we're realtors? Whatever that is what our subconscious mind will accept, will receive, and to continue to think about, because it can only accept what we're giving it. Okay. So now the power in knowing this information is going through the process of change. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And Bob Proctor calls this the terror barrier. And this is the big red line that's on the page. Once you cross the terror barrier, you come into freedom. So I see that Susanna raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I want to say something that I'm fearful about, and I want to find out exactly where in this process it actually lies. Like when I
Can
first,
I go ahead and talk about the process first, and
oh yeah,
then we can talk about that? Do you mind?
no, not at all. That's awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Yeah, thank you. And keep your hand raised. Okay, so you'll see down here on the bottom, this is where we are right now. And this is us, it's called bondage, right? It is, our current thoughts are conscious, our current thoughts are subconscious, and the result is that our body or our life is reflecting that. That's the reality of who we are. We wanted to be a realtor, we are a realtor, and then our homes and our cars, the way we do business, the way we talk, the way we speak, it all is the reality of us being a realtor. Now, let's go a little bit more into what that means, right? So let's say, for example, right now in your conscious mind, you're a realtor, but you have not capped yet your growth. You're in the growth period of your business, right? In the growth period of the history of your business, because everybody has to start somewhere. You're just in the beginning chapter. So now you understand, well, I've sold three homes. I want to sell more. I want to be like a Greg Simpson. I mean, wasn't that amazing in the award ceremony last night to see that we have people that are in our leadership, in our ownership, that are just killing it out there in real estate? Now, that is where they're at, but where we're at is we are currently at this production level, and in our subconscious mind, we've accepted that we're at this production level, and our reality shows that we're at this production level. Now, the next step is, oh my goodness, I've decided that I want to cap, because I want to make 100% of my commission, and I know that I could do this. Is this a possibility? Am I being realistic in this? So that new idea is starting to come into the conscious mind, but your subconscious mind is still thinking, I'm good where I'm at. This is what I can do. I'm going to be fine. And our reality is still the same. It's still the X factor. We're still living in that, because remember, we cannot change if we do not change in our subconscious mind. Now, we've decided I'm going to do what it takes. I want to be more successful in my business. I really want to take home 100% of my commission, and I want to take home 100% for as long as I can. So now we've got a little bit of emotion coming in. It would be so exciting to fulfill the dreams of traveling with my family. It would be so wonderful for me to fund the education for my children. It would be great to buy a house. It would be great to have investment property. This is something that I am now willing to do. I'm willing to push myself because now I see what is possible. And now that I start to see what is possible, it's starting to come into the subconscious mind, because now I've attached some emotion to it. Now I see, well, if I want to be more successful than I currently am, then I know I have to start really feeling as if I were successful already. So what it is that we do in order to reach where we want to be, the obvious thing is to start educating ourselves. We make education the foundation of our business plan. That's one of the perspectives of the 6 personal perspectives that Gary Keller has created. And it's also the foundation of all Keller Williams agents, is that you have 6 personal perspectives of a high achiever, right? So making education be the foundation of your business means that you learn what it is that you need to do to be a successful realtor, right? You learn the processes. You go through the education that we have in the office. You learn how to represent buyers. You learn how to write a contract. You learn how to do a listing presentation. All of these amazing things you learn. That's in your conscious mind. Now, in the subconscious mind, you're going to put more of your emotion into it. And remember how exciting it would be to attain the goal that you've set for yourself. And I know that having your big why and understanding what your big why is will add emotion to you. If you say what your big why is and it doesn't move you to tears, then it's not big enough. Okay? And if you want, I could help you figure out what your big why is, but you want it to move you. You want it to be something that's so important to you that when you're afraid of something like picking up the phone to make a phone call, you know that you're willing to do it, because in your subconscious mind, you have now imagined yourself as a top producing agent. You have now imagined yourself bringing 100% of your commission home to your family, and you can now accomplish the things that you have on your bucket list. You can help all these amazing clients of yours, help them attain their real estate goals. So now this imagination of reminding yourself you are at the beginning of your career, you're at a standstill in your career, you're at a plateau, and you want to go ahead and cross that terror barrier into success and into freedom. But what happens when you're right in front of the terror barrier is that there's going to be a lot of angst going on inside of you, because fear, it comes up as anxiety. And it's a very, very powerful emotion. It's also the most destructive emotion. Now, if you've taken classes with me or you've heard me speak, you know that when I decided to transfer from becoming a realtor to becoming a productivity coach, that was a huge decision for me. I was scared, so scared that I got drunk 3 days in a row. And I'm not proud of the fact that I did that, but that's how deep and how intense that emotion was. And because I was able to allow my emotions to loosen up through the, alcohol, I was able to cry. I was able to express my fear. I was able to be nervous, but mostly for me, crying is the emotion that allows me to clear out my energy. So that is like, that's an example of being a really huge way that fear comes in. It could also be small. It could also be something like, well, I want to buy this house, but I'm really worried that I'm not going to be able to make the payments. And so instead of going through the terror barrier, I'm going to bounce up against it and I'm going to go back to bondage, to the first position. Now, when this happens, there's often regret that follows. And, regret can hold you back, and regret can kind of make you look at life in a way that makes you disappointed with yourself. And it makes you forget how truly powerful you are as a being. You have the ability to create the life that you want because you have the brain, the conscious brain, to make that decision of what it is that you want to create. You have the subconscious brain that once you tell your subconscious brain, I am moving forward, it's going to make you do it. And so even with the fear that comes up, even with the anxiety that comes up, it's time to gather your courage. Courage means that you still have fear, but you've made the choice to move forward. You've made the conscious decision to move forward. So when you go from this position of fear and you cross through the terror barrier and you face your fear and you acknowledge it, I don't recommend you get drunk, but I do recommend you cry if you need to. Face
Why not?
that fear, cross your terror barrier, and then, oh my God, on the other side of terror, on the other side of fears, everything that you wanted, it's freedom. And it's now your new normal. And you forget what life was like before. You forget the thoughts that held you back in this particular instance. All of the doubt, all of the worry, all the concerns, all the fear, those thoughts, they don't even exist anymore, because as you go through this process of change, you've released that and you've told yourself, I am powerful. I believe in who I am. So this is the pathway to freedom. I'm going to stop the screen share. I see that I've got some questions coming up. And okay, so Susanna, you're the first one. What's your question?
So my question, actually, it's a comment and then a question, and I'm not
Okay.
sure if any other realtors on the call have felt the same way. But I think one of the biggest things that has been kind of preventing me from even just going on my own, because I do a lot of business with Sam as a partner, and now we have mutual clients, but it's the fear of being sued. Like, I think about that often. And I think about, and I know even from the start that has held me back. Like, I didn't jump into this a business, which I know that I could have and I was capable of doing, especially with all the support at Keller Williams. I could have gone on as an individual agent, but even after my mentorship, I decided to stay with Sam. And up until December of 2019, did I do any business on my own? And a lot of it is from that fear, because I imagine what that looks like. Like, what if I get sued? Like, what would happen to me and my family and my financial situation when it's not the best already, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So where does that fall exactly? I mean, I'm sure it's the emotional part, the subconscious mind, but just funneling it through and that process, like, where am I, or where is it at and right now?
Can I do a little bit of laser coaching with you, Susanna?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So the fear that you have is of being sued, right? And what does that represent to you?
Financial disaster. I mean, it's like it would just crush me. Not only
Mhm.
that, but just not doing a good job for my, like, even though I know I do a really good job for my clients, like, did I miss something?
Mhm. Right, right. And so have you found in your experience that when you do something that's really important and that really matters, that you miss something?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes
When
I
was
do.
the last time that happened?
Um, Probably when one of my girls got really sick and I wasn't paying really, really close attention because I was working a lot.
I see. When was the first time it happened?
Hmm. The first time it happened, it was probably, um, yeah, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. 6 years ago, maybe.
The first time that you did something important and you made a mistake was only 5 or 6 years ago?
Oh no, no. Gosh, since I was young, I'm sure.
Right. And so
Sure, I was
what happened?
18, 19. Well, definitely faced some consequences. I can't recall exactly what those were, but there were definitely some consequences or confrontations with, someone, or
Mhm.
a consequence that I endured. A learning lesson, of course. They're all learning lessons, right? So
Right.
I don't believe in
So
failures. So
I'm sorry, you don't believe in what?
failures.
Right. Okay. So I have a different thought on failures, but so staying in alignment with what your fear is of being sued, it sounds like the very first time and throughout your life when you did miss something, you had huge consequences, and it was probably devastating at the time, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, and I know that when when that happened with your daughter, that you had missed something, that was devastating too, because, you're looking at yourself as a parent, and, there's all this self-judgment that comes about when we're parents, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So we're not going to talk about the parenting part, right? Because things happen, but what we're going to talk about is the business part. And because of the fact that you spent so much time doing business, and you feel like there is a kind of a sacrifice, right, in order for you to do your business,
That is correct.
right, that you want to make sure that you do everything right, and you're double checking everything. And have you ever been sued before?
No, never.
Okay. All right. And do you know somebody who's been sued by doing a simple mistake?
Oh yeah, I've heard. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And do you know if it's a mistake that you would have made?
Um, I do a lot of research before I make decisions, and I get a lot of support. So probably not, but things can be missed. I
Right.
mean, it happens.
Okay. Right. So Susanna, I know you personally, and you just won an award last night. So you're obviously doing good business, and you've done business in a way that has kept you, that you have kept your clients safe in the contract, correct?
Yes, of
Right.
course.
Okay. So I want to help you switch the fear of making a mistake to this huge consequence of being sued, right? I mean, if you're thinking that you're afraid you're going to be sued, that's kind of in your subconscious mind, right? So
Mm,
your subconscious mind is just waiting for it to happen,
mm.
right? And would you agree that you're kind of like just waiting for it to happen because that is your fear? So you double check everything because you don't want it to happen?
Triple or quadruple check everything. Yes.
Right, exactly. So the thing here is that, remember, our subconscious mind, it will take whatever the thought is that we think about, whether it's real or imagined, and whether it's true or false, right?
Mhm.
So while you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be sued, I don't want to be sued, all your subconscious mind is thinking about is, I'm going to be sued, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
so, I can talk about the law of attraction in another class,
mhm.
but what this is that when what you think about you bring about, right?
Mhm.
So remember that you have the ability to choose your thoughts.
Mhm.
And so if you shift, like, I'm afraid to be sued, so I don't want to make a mistake, what if you shift that to another thought?
Mhm.
Do you have an idea of what thought that could be?
Um, well, I mean, maybe just rephrasing it where I'm doing everything I can and gathering all the support up front so that I have a successful outcome, and not even put that language in my verbiage, basically, and train myself. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, but immediately I'll have to put some more thought into it. But yes, a more positive statement regarding that.
Right. So one of the positive statements could be, I am an amazing realtor, and I am very conscious of everything that goes into this contract. And I often double check, and I can trust my results.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. I like that. Susie is
Yeah.
raising her
Yeah,
hand.
Susie.
So, so I sat in on a thing that Nikki Benucci did one time.
Uh-huh.
She was like, I know people go to court. She runs her business off a checklist like nobody's tomorrow. And she goes, I am happy to sit in front of any judge or jury and show them my process because I dare anyone to question it. She is so secure in her process and in her checklist that I wish I could even borrow that security. But she addresses exactly what you're talking about. And she has a checklist and she runs through it and everything is documented. And so she can rest secure. And I feel like maybe for me, the answer is in the checklists so that you give it all of your attention once and you put it in the checklist. And then from then on, if you have anxiety, you can review the checklist and know that you have done everything in your power for your client and communicated clearly with them and sent it in an email and got a confirmation for it. So you could pull all that back up again.
That's great. Thank you.
Does that help you, Susanna?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know you're a very conscientious agent.
Sure.
So it's just your fear. And
Yeah,
then
it's
the
my
bottom,
limiting belief, I say right now, in terms of my business and where I want to go. It does limit me.
right, right. And really, what the bottom fear is that, you're not going to be able to provide for your family. That's really the bottom fear, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Now
right.
that my girls aren't here, they just went to the store. But yes, I
Yeah.
mean, my girls are my world, honestly. Like, that's why I do a lot of the stuff that I do. So
Absolutely. And because of that, of that desire to provide for your family, I know that you have your checklist. And included in that checklist is, getting support from Mark and Jim and BRLG. And, Therese had also reminded us of that. So, it's okay. I understand.
awesome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're welcome, Susanna.
You.
Carlos, you had a question?
Well, thank you, Susanna, for sharing. That makes you more human, and in my eyes, because you're like a star for me. So I think that you are going to be fine. Just don't focus on the negativity. Why focus on something that's not real? That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Carlos.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Did anybody else have a question or want a little bit of coaching on how to cross their terror barrier? So, crossing the terror barrier is about being courageous, right? It's about facing the fear and doing it anyway. And then I know that some people had sent me a message saying that they couldn't see the screen. Did you guys all eventually see that screen? Okay. All right. All right. So does anybody else have any?
I do. Can I say
Okay,
something?
Carlos. Yeah.
You mentioned power, and you mentioned something about that. And I used to be in a meeting a long time ago when I was in real estate, and I would stand up, and everybody would have a chance to say, "I'm a powerful agent." and
That's
allow. I'm a powerful agent.
I love it. Do you do that every day, every morning? You
No,
should.
that was just at the time when I was in real estate back in, the time.
Mhm. Right, right.
And it
And
was
I
great.
love it, right? Because doing those affirmations, like I am a powerful agent, like doing them 3 times, looking in the mirror, that is really very powerful, and it helps your subconscious mind to start to really absorb it, right?
And standing up, not sit down, because sitting down for me is like I'm weak, No,
Hmm.
I have to be a stand up.
Right, right. That's good. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any other affirmations that you say?
Who, me?
Hmm.
Um, I'm alive, happy to be around. I'm very grateful.
That's a beautiful one. Thank you for
That's what I
sharing
say
that.
every time you ask me how are you.
I know you do. Thank you for sharing that. So did anybody else have any other questions about the terror barrier and crossing over it? You guys want to know what you could do after you cross over the terror barrier?
Could you just put the slide with the barrier up and talk through it for 30
Again?
seconds?
Yeah, sure.
Because I was following along with what you were saying, but that slide with the barrier wasn't up, so it has a lot of X's on it, and I wanted to know what those X's represent.
Okay, so can you see the slide now?
Now I can. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, great. So here we are. This is our current state of affairs, right? Our thinking mind has us thinking a certain way. Like, let's say, for example, I've sold $3 million in production, right? And my subconscious mind is, I'm a $3 million producer, and I'm very comfortable with that. The reality of my life is that the home that I have, the way I spend my money, the clothes that I wear, the car that I drive, it is a reflection of a $3 million producer. Now, especially after last night's awards banquet, we can see that it's possible to sell. How much did Greg Simpson sell?
17 million.
Over 1.5 million in GCI. So there were 21 units.
21 units, right? Okay, so I know the GCI was 1.5 million. So thank you, Susanna. Thank you, guys. So, okay, so now let's look at this. If I'm selling $3 million worth of production, I am not at 1.5 million. Now, if I want to be at 1.5 million, what is it that I need to do? This is the outside idea is now coming in. This is the new thought that's coming into the conscious mind. I'm now aware that how I am now is not how I want to be. But my subconscious mind is still thinking in the 3 million production level, right? So now I'm starting to get the idea that becoming a $1.5 million GCI agent is now a possibility. And if that possibility exists, then what can I do to reach that possibility? And in my subconscious mind, am I not now starting to feel like that's possible or that's not possible? All of the education, the training, the culture, the paradigm that we grew up with is now coming into play in our subconscious mind and saying, oh, I can't be a $1.5 million GCI agent because, I don't live in Los Gatos, or I don't know how to sell, luxury homes, or, that's Greg Simpson, or he's been in the business for so many years. Well, okay, well, what if you don't become 1.5? What if you become $500,000 production, right? Or 500,000 in GCI? I mean, I think that would be pretty exciting. And then all of the amounts in between. The first thing that I would recommend that you do is just get to cap, right? Now, capping, it's not like that is not the target because that's where you want to sit. Capping is the doorstep into 100% commission, so that you could bring that home to you and your family, right? So you could look at this terror barrier as like, you know, the threshold to freedom, right? It's like once you start to get these emotions of, I want to sell more real estate. I want to make more money. I want to be a top producer. Then your subconscious mind is going to have to come along with you. Okay? And in your subconscious mind, it's going to accept what you say, and it cannot reject what you say. So for example, when we were talking about Susanna, you know, her fear was, I don't want to be sued. But our subconscious mind is only hearing being sued, right? So we want to put all of our words that we speak into positive terms, because if our subconscious mind is always listening, then we want to feed it really good stuff, right? Really good stuff. And if what we want to do is to increase our production, then our conscious mind, our intellect mind, and I'll go back to this slide. And can you guys see this slide? Yes? Okay, great. So in our conscious mind, remember, that's our thinking mind, that's our educated mind, that's where our intellect lies. So we can choose, we get to make a choice when it's time for a decision to be made. We're consciously making the decision. We can either accept it or reject it, right? Now, the idea that the possibility exists that you too can be a top producing agent is originated in the conscious mind. So, you know, when we're at that thought process, it's just in the conscious mind, but now we're bringing it down into the subconscious mind. And this is the emotional mind. And this is where fear lies. This is where doubt lies, because the way we were brought up, the paradigms that we sit in, what we've learned from everybody that's around us, all the way from our parents. And the things that we've learned from our parents are the things that they've learned from their parents and from their parents, right? The things that we learn as a community, it's what we learn from the other people in our community. It's what we learn in our culture. Now, being at KW, that is the culture and the paradigm of a millionaire real estate agent. Now, in KW Bay Area Estates, that's still the paradigm, and that's still the culture. We are an office of millionaire real estate agents. So now it's time to shift your belief in yourself, in your subconscious mind, and to understand that this is now the paradigm that you are within. This is now the culture that you are within. And it's time to let go of the fear and to step forward and accept that. Accept that you have what you need to educate yourself on the technical aspect of real estate. There's all these classes that all of these top producing agents are willing to take the time out of their busy schedule to teach to you. I mean, look at what you're doing with your schedule right now. Are you, are you time blocking your time? Do you have awareness of what your big why is? Do you know what your goal is? Do you have the top 3 priorities needed to achieve that goal? And then once you have your priorities, do you have the 5 strategies needed to achieve that priority, to achieve that goal? And do you have a 411? There's all of these foundational steps that once you start to really embrace and really understand how it's to help you become focused, then your subconscious mind starts to believe that you too can be a top producer. Does this make sense? And did that explain what the question was? Oh, good, good. I'm glad. Okay, Carlos?
Yes.
Yeah, I lost my thought. Well, I like it. I think it's great. I'll get back to you.
Okay, great. All right. So, do you guys understand that? Because understanding this process is really going to help you to move forward and break through the limiting beliefs that you have, right? So limiting beliefs, and Carlos, I'll get to you in a moment. Limiting beliefs are those beliefs. Those are the things that you first thought of, the habits, the attitudes, the actions, the things that you've been doing just out of pure habit. You've been doing them and thinking them for so long that they've become a limiting belief. And a belief is something that we believe to be true. And so limiting beliefs are held within our subconscious mind. So a limiting belief could be, I am not worthy of making a lot of money. Or a limiting belief could be, money is the root of all evil. Or if I believe that, if I'm going to focus on making a lot of money, a limiting belief could be, what will other people think of me? Right? A limiting belief could be, this is against the way that I was brought up. Or like if you are like me, I was brought up in a very humble home. My grandparents were, my grandfather was blue collar. My grandmother stayed at home. My dad, he was blue collar, but he worked for the airlines, and he was, in the management part there. And in the loading, he was the load dock manager. And then my mom, right, she worked for the government in a professional manner. She had gone and got a college degree, and she went to work in a professional manner. So for me, I went to college because I knew that this was possible. I had seen it be attained by my mother. Now, for my family, my extended family, going to college was kind of a big thing because there weren't many of us that had gone to college yet at the time that I did. And then going into real estate and being a top producer and then winning awards on top of that, it was kind of embarrassing because I felt like, well, I shouldn't flaunt my wealth because, because they don't have it. The limiting belief is that they're not happy for me, and that I'm being a braggart or I'm being inconsiderate. So I switched my limiting belief on that. I understand that everybody has the ability to choose the life that they want to live. And everybody has the ability to do what it is that they need to do to attain it. Because I went to school, because I joined Keller Williams, because I have the drive, and I focused on making sure that I created a successful business. That is my power. That is my value. And I am appreciative of it. I'm grateful for it. And I am just going to own who I am. And that's what I encourage everybody else to do. So because there's all of these things that go into our conscious mind, the subconscious mind is hearing what you think. So choose positive words and remind yourself every day, just like Carlos was saying, with doing the positive affirmations, remind yourself every day that you are worthy of happiness, you are worthy of wealth, you are worthy of having a successful business, and you are of high value. And anybody who is going to work with you is very fortunate to have you as their agent. So the shift right before you go through that terror barrier, that shift that happens, it's angst, it's frustration. It's going to come out in many different ways, but I promise you, if you just gather your courage up and you trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and move through the terror barrier with courage, freedom, and everything that you want is on the other side of fear. Carlos?
Okay, so here it is. Would you hire yourself? That's my question.
Oh,
Would you hire
absolutely.
yourself to be a millionaire? Would you get out of your limits, your comfort zone, and do it yourself, right? So in other words, for me, is the only person who suppress me is myself. Because if I'm willing to pay the price, I'm going to get it done. Do I want to pay the price? I don't know. That's up to me.
Want to do a little bit of coaching?
Yeah.
Okay. So your basic question is, are you willing to pay the price, or are you willing to do what needs to be done in order to achieve your goals?
Right.
Right? That's your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I really want to hire myself, because nobody is, I can think of somebody tell me, oh, you cannot do it, or maybe they thought I cannot do it. But that is not important. What is important is what I want.
Right. So what is it that you want, Carlos?
I want to follow a role model just like you.
Oh, you're so funny, teacher's pet. So so what is it that you want for your business? Let's just focus on you and your business. And what is it that you want for your business?
Well, I want to get back on my feet. I back in 2006, I lost my real estate business, and I struggled all this time in the car business for 12 years. I mean, it's been a struggle because there is no way I can, get back on my feet on that business. But
And that was your
for
real
me,
estate business?
for my real estate business is to be able to buy back a home that I lost in Citrus Heights,
Okay, great.
Sacramento.
Okay,
And
great. So
I want to have enough money for retirement in 5 years, and I want to go all over the world and say hi to everybody.
okay, great. So you have beautiful goals. And so can I just, because we only have 10 minutes left, I'm actually going to go a little bit faster than if you and I were sitting here coaching one-on-one. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So, if I push you too much, let me know. Um, so when you lost your real estate business the first time, right? You were in real estate. What was the reason?
Mostly because the economy, the recession. I had probably 7 listings, and I had a lot of offers, and they fell through, and I was not able to come up with my payment for my bills.
Okay,
So
so then during the last recession, right? During the
yeah,
last shift, your business was affected greatly, and so you lost everything, correct?
well, everything means my freedom.
So, so the big fear that you have, Carlos, is that you're going to replicate
Oh
that
no.
again. Well, but see, this is your fear, right? And that's
Mhm.
kind of what's holding you back
Okay.
because right? Because, it happened once, you're afraid that you're going to do that again, and you're going to be in a position again where after you've invested all this time and all of this energy that you're going to lose everything again,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, that's
now,
why I stopped doing it.
right, exactly. But now you're a wiser man. Now you've learned what you have from having your business and from losing it. You've learned what it's like to have a home and to lose a home. So now what's driving you is the ability to buy your home again so that you could you could be where you were before the big shift occurred, and now's your time to do that. It's kind of like, and this is what I've seen with a lot of people, it's kind of like what happened during that shift. We could pick up where that was and bring all that wisdom to where we're at now today. Does that make sense? So now it's a matter of you remembering, Carlos, that you are a powerful agent. So you really need to do those affirmations in the morning. You know what you're doing. It's okay to build a successful business because you will not lose it again. Because you have the experience that happened to you before, you have even more drive to not allow that to happen again. you have even more drive to remember. And I want you to remember how powerful you are. To have 7 listings at one time, that should remind you that you know what you're doing, you have the ability to do a great job, and you have value to offer your clients. So forget about the fact that you lost everything before. Allow yourself to forgive yourself for that happening. Those were circumstances beyond your control. And the thing that got me through that time, because that's when my marriage started to fall apart. So then my business started to fall apart. That is when you start to say to yourself, my circumstances do not define me. My circumstances do not define me. Okay? My circumstances do not define me. You are a powerful agent. You have knowledge, you have skill, you have the ability, and I'm here to remind you that you did it once, you could do it again. You did it once, Carlos, you could do it again. Just step out of the fear that it's going to happen again. Remind yourself of the value you have to offer and that you are worthy of wealth. And once you accept that truly in your subconscious mind and in your emotions, in your heart, you're going to be on fire.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Does that
And
help you?
I have to tell you, I'm doing whatever I can, and I'm going to do more.
Wonderful.
Because all these trainings that we're having for this last month is been wonderful.
That's wonderful.
So
I'm so glad.
As soon as possible.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that that's helping you. And, you know, you can always talk to me. This month, I have a free trial on the coaching program. So starting on Monday, we're doing scripts practice for half an hour, 9:30 to 10. And then everybody who signs up with me gets a free half-hour consultation. And then on Thursdays, we have our mastermind, and it's really, really good and powerful. Wouldn't you agree,
Yes.
Anna Maria?
I agree. Carlos, I'm so happy for you because you are being coached by the best. And, you know, Edith really believes in what she instills in us, and that's powerful. You know, sometimes it's just so hard to find people to really believe in us and to really feel our pain. And, you know, that's one thing that I believe Edith does very well. And I agree with her 110%. Like, I was just listening, and, you know, how you did it before, you can do it again. And especially if you're surrounded by the right people.
That's why I'm here with you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And I really appreciate that. Thank you, Anna Maria. Thank you so much. So, you know, I don't know if people know my story. I've been in real estate for 16 years. I was Rookie of the Year, and then I've been on the ALC for at least half of my career on the culture chair. I am highly sensitive, highly intuitive, and I have a 2-year energy school that I graduated from. So I work with energy. I can see you. I can
feel
see
you.
I can see you, and I can feel you. I could see the desire that you have to create a beautiful life for yourself. I could see the success that's within you. And that's one of the things that helps me to coach people is I can see you. And so if you allow me to help you, I can help you.
Edith.
Yeah.
Can I say something? So
Real quick.
real quick. I met Edith in 2009. So I've seen Edith at the peak of her business, and I have seen her go through some really deep hardships, and I have seen her, you know, just maneuver through life. And really, she could, when she's talking to us and trying to help us, she's coming from a place of true sincerity. And not only that, but somebody who has literally been there, done that, and experienced what we're experiencing. So that's what I can say. 2009, Edith. It's been 11 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited with where you're going. I've
Thank
loved
you.
seeing you too, and I'm so excited with where you're going, Anna Maria. And
Thank
thank you. This wasn't, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about my coaching program. So does anybody have any questions before we go? None?
Um, what is probably the best way to do something for yourself so you can feel much better?
So self-mastery is the first step in the 6 personal perspectives of high achievers, right? So self-mastery means knowing who you are, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like. It's caring for yourself and, practicing self-awareness. So self-mastery is probably the first step. And within that is practicing self-love. It's practicing self-care. And so that means, following a nutritious diet. It means exercise. It means sleeping. It means meditation or prayer. It means tapping into your connection with your higher source, right? It means understanding how you would react in a situation based on how well you know yourself. The secret to understanding others is to master the understanding of yourself. And once you do that, then you can really do anything you want because you understand that we really all are one. We're really human and we share that experience. And if I feel sad for something, like let's say Greg Simpson won his award last night. He was so excited and probably felt very well accomplished. I can assume that because I think that's how I would feel, right? So when we're working with our buyers and our sellers and they're a little bit nervous, it's like, well, how would I feel? Because if how I would feel would be nervous, then what information would I need in order to move forward? And by knowing that about myself, I can better help my clients. Does that help? So I'm gonna say the first thing would be self-love, Carlos.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
wrote that down.
Awesome. All right, you guys, we are at the hour, so thank you very much for attending this class. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And in the meantime, remember, give me a call or text me, email me. I'm always here for you. All right, have a beautiful day.